Thank you, Professor. And it's my pleasure to be here to give you this very short talk about your final year project. Um, I'm Jianqiao Mao, and this is my personal page. You can check it later. I always post some blogs about the machine learning and some previous project, including my final year project. You can check it. My final year project topic is hand gesture recognition using machine learning, and I worked with Dr. Wasim. And this time I would like to share some experience about how to manage your project. Okay. So this presentation will be divided in four parts. Firstly, give a very small and brief introduction about what is your FYP and what's the goal of that. And the second, I would like to introduce you about the skills of doing a good project. I mean, um, some essentials to know for me. Okay. So and third part, we will say something about the procedure of doing a group final year project. That is how to manage a project, and also give you some final tips here. And I will give you some time of Q&A session. Any question is welcome. Okay. So first, let's think about what is your final year project. It's just a long report, or it's just an important presentation, or it's a time-consuming job. You can say this is a screenshot from my final year project Word doc. The editing time is around more than 14,000 minutes, so it's of course, very time consuming. But I have to say, FYP is not just these things. Okay, so I use a sentence, a quote sentence from the final year project handbook that I believe you also have one. You can check it. The first sentence is that an individual project is, in educational terms, one of the most valuable parts of the degree course. I think these words, it's a little bit formal, but actually it's true. Because actually you will say a lot of practical info. You will do a lot of practical things from theory to the real world. So it's actually an exclusive opportunity for you to get your hands dirty, and also you will learn how to do research independently. Although you have your supervisor, but actually most of your step and work you have to done, you have to do it by yourself. Your supervisor just give you some suggestions when you are confused, and point out some microscopic directions for you, not just give you every detail for your project. So this project is your project, and it's also a good opportunity to escape from your comfort zone, because for the formal courses you have learned lectures and examinations. The lectures have bigger proportion to work with you for your learning. But in this project, in this course, or in this module, you have to do more things, much more things by yourself. So that's also a very good opportunity for you to escape from your comfort zone. I believe for most of you, maybe this is the first time that you can recognize, or this is the deepest opportunity for you to recognize the gap between theory and practice. You might have some experience, for example, the TDPS and some course project before, but this time you have to do something that can really work well in the real world. I think it's more difficult than before. So because you have to also do something new, just not repeat others' work. Okay. So one thing that is important is also, this is a very good opportunity for you to improve your GPAs. Yeah, and that's contributes to that contribute to earning a good class of degree, because it can. I remember the final year project counts for 32 credits. That is more than one of third proportion of your final year credits. So it's very important if you want to get a first class or upper second. So do your project carefully. Okay. So, but I think most importantly, you have to um, write and implement your own ideas, and this is very a good opportunity for you because you may not have such a opportunity to do so. So this is first time you can realize your idea. Okay. So just like I mentioned before, you in this module you have to develop something brand new independently. Your FYP or your final project can be the product you have made. It may be simple, maybe fundamental or easy to implement, but it should be useful, reasonable, and innovative. Okay, so you have to explore something with an open-ended solution. That's the point is that where the point is because for example for TDPS you have almost a closed form, right? You have to develop a rover to detect the track or to detect the object to find the way to the end. You know what will be in the final stage, but in this time you may not know because most of the project is open-ended, has an open-ended solution. What you will achieve only depends on your work. So there is no limitation. Any opportunity, any possibility can happen as you wish. But actually, it does not mean you start with nothing to refer. You can talk with your supervisor, and he or she will give you some reviews or survey of in this field to guide you in this area of academic, and you can start. You don't start with zero. You start with something. You have to refer some existing research results. Okay, and you have to also make something that can ease your or others' life. Actually, that's the nature of engineer, right? Because as an engineer, you have to make something that can be applied in practice. So this project is I think it may be the first time you can do such a kind of thing. Okay, and one of the most important part is to train your skills to give presentations. The presentations including writing and oral expression, because you have to write a very long report to clarify your idea and to demonstrate how you work on your topic. And also you also have maybe I think it's 20 or 15 minutes presentation to give your idea very briefly to the panels for the overall presentation. So that's also very good. You have to enhance your presentation skills in both of the two. So in the section 2, I would like to say something about the skills of doing a good project, good final year project, and there are some essentials for you to know. So first of all, I think it's an most important thing is independent thinking. You have to keep suspect. Don't just believe what your supervisor say to you. Don't believe the sentence or the ideas in the papers are all correct. Okay, they just represent what other people's think is right now. But if you want to make something new, if you want to develop some new method, theories, or get some improvements, you have to suspect, because the things always comes from suspect. In fact, you are standing on the shoulders of giants to see what you will contribute to the academic or the industry. So, and the second thing I think is important is self-motivation, because just like I say, this is your own project. So self-motivation comes from actually interests. I think you have a few options when you choose your project. So I hope you can you have chosen the project that you are really interested in, because that's very important. This project lasts for 1 year, although from now it's maybe more than 8 months, right? So 7 months or 6 months, okay. It's still half a year, and you have to insist on one topic to do it as deep as possible. So interest is very important. Otherwise, you may not um, um, get fully involved in what you needed to do. Okay, so um, once you have your topic, you have to think it hard and stabilize it. Don't fluctuate from this subtopic to another, because you have a topic that is in a macroscopic view, but you have to decide your a smaller topic when you really do it. So once you choose one, just stick it on. Okay. And I think an important skill that you have to have is to know how to communication. First of all, you of course have to communicate with your supervisor, because your supervisor, of course, is the one with more experience in the retail area, but just not report or answer them question. You have to debate with them, because you are also should be an expert in this area, because you are doing this project of this topic. So you also know a lot of information about this. Your supervisor, of course, have a lot of information in this area, but also some others. So just to try to debate with him, you may have the confliction can sometimes create more ideas and improvements actually. So, and you, of course, I believe you have the regular meeting with your supervisor, maybe per weeks or per month. So that's very valuable. So be well prepared for the meeting. I recommend you to have some simple slides or text things to show what you have done and what you are planning to do in the future. And you can talk your idea and you talk your plan with your supervisor, and let him give you some suggestions and modify your plan. Yeah. So of course, not only your supervisor, but also your classmates, families, and even strangers, you have to learn from them by more communication. Because in fact, for example, for my project, I did the hand gesture coordination, and actually during the image processing stage, I try to find what's the most important factors to recognize or to extract the features of a hand gesture. And I talked to some of my classmates who knows a lot of things in machine learning, and I also talked to my families and even some strangers to what should be a reasonable way to extract the feature. And they some of them maybe don't have professional knowledge about it, but they can give you some intuitive things that help you to find a good way to do so. And of course, another important skill is to do paper reading. I believe most of you have read a lot of paper until now, because maybe you have submitted your preliminary report and internal report, but I just want to say keep reading through all the process, because although the paper reading process will be very difficult at the beginning, but if you keep doing that, you will find it helps you even in the future, not only for the final year project. So keep reading your paper. Okay, so this just some pictures of the papers that I have read recently. I just show some example how to read a paper. You have to make some notations and some remarks just on your papers, what you read. That will help you to collect the information later on, and also to help you to record them in a formative way later on your logbook or something that you need to record your idea. So this can help you to efficiently recall your memory about what the papers taught. So I recommend you to do some notations when you are reading. So not just to read it. Otherwise, if you read maybe 20, 30 papers, you will forget what you read for the first and second one. So do some notes here. Okay. And of course, you are required to do a logbook, I believe. And the important thing is that for you to form a good way to collect or to organize your files or your resources in a good way. For example, you can do your logbook as you wish. There is no format or required format to do so. You just write what you can understand and you think is the best way for you to recall your memory and to record your idea. Okay, and also you have to collect your paper in a structural way, because when you are doing the literature review or literature work section, you need to write some conclusions or summaries or analysis about the recent research in your related area. So if you classify as this kind of structure, that may ease your work later. And of course, you have a lot of resources on the internet. If you just view it and close the tab, later on maybe you just forget where it comes from. And sometimes you need to check it again to say how to implement some code or some what's the principles of some technique. You may want to review what you have seen before, and you didn't save it on your in a proper way. You cannot find it, and you maybe get confused. That will consume a lot of time to find it again. So just save them, save the things that you think it's valuable to. That maybe you will say you will check it again. Okay, so that's actually the information searching and concluding ability skills that you have to have to do a group project. Okay, and also actually, just like I mentioned before, this project aims to enhancing your skills of expressing your idea to do a project, to do a presentation, sorry. So you have to try to train yourself to express your idea concisely and clearly. First of all, you have 3 reports to write. For the final report, you have to write maybe thousands of words, right? So the principles is that you have to use concise expression, and also you have to try to use formal and formative writing style. I believe most of you have attended the IELTS test in the writing. You have know how to write a formal and formative sentence. So you have to recall your memory how to write the sentence in a good way. And of course, very important, you have to use proper citation, because otherwise you may be judged as plagiarism. So that's very serious. Of course, when you want to insert some tables, figures, or flowcharts, things like this, you have to give sufficient caption. Do not just drop your figures or tables in your paper and say, oh, that the reviewer said it by itself. No, that's not the case, because the reviewer should you should treat him like anyone around you. They should understand your paper by reading, not just guess your meanings or based on what they have known before. So sufficient caption is very important. And secondly, for the oral presentation, it's very time limit and highly stressful because you only have limited time to introduce all the project that you've done for a whole year within such a short time interval. So it's very important to do rehearsal, to adapt to the highly stressful environment that you may face in the presentation, in the oral presentation. And of course, you have to make beautiful but brief slides, talk at moderate speed, not too fast and not too slow, and avoid mumbling or too many repeating. That's a very important tips to make a good oral presentation. Okay, so because the time is limited, I would like to move to another section. So for how to manage your project, I give you some tips here. For example, as you know, there are substantial amount of work that you should do during this project. So you have 1 year, but because it's a very big project, so you have to know where to start. I think most of you may have had a Gantt chart to plan your project, but for those who didn't, I think this is a suggestion that you have to start your project with your timeline by doing a Gantt chart. So Gantt chart is you haven't known it before because I think you have learned a course called project management before in Glasgow College and say how to do a Gantt chart. That's very useful because you can have a macroscopic view of your project. What's the important time point? Which task should be done within how much times, and you can plan it as soon as possible. So do not rush to get working. Before you start your project, just like I said, plan your project properly. Give each task just split all the whole work to the small chunks, and give and plan them with proper with weeks or months according to how complex the work is. Give some so before you start work, you have to plan, right? And also, very important, you have to flexibly adjust your plan. The plan you initially have is may not be the final one because there are a lot of uncertainty during the whole project. You have to adjust it according to the current situation. And of course, you have to keep working, not just do a project for 1 whole week and rest for 2 weeks, and then you work again. That's not a good way to do such a kind of big project, because if you have rest for more than 1 month or even 2 weeks, you didn't learn anything, or you didn't have any progress for the project, you may not forget what you have done, and you have to use 1 or 2 days to recall your memory about what you have done before. That is very time consuming, and you may not find the states or what's your idea before, so you will lose a lot of things. So just to keep working. You can pay maybe 2 hours or 3 hours every day, but don't leave it away for a long time. Okay, so pay regular hours for every day to do your project. And also, I recommend you to update and report your progress actively with your supervisor, even though supervisor didn't contact with you. So you can send him an email with maybe weekly or half a month. So let him know what you have done until now, and they may have some suggestions with you. Okay, and of course you have to be prepared for uncertainty, just like I mentioned before. For example, in my case, the COVID-19 affects my final year project's plans seriously. Because I plan to do a full alphabet for the hand gestures, but because there's a second term, I can't come back to the campus, so I lost a lot of volunteers that I contacted before and who promised me to give me some samples to build the data set. But you have to be prepared for this kind of uncertainty, which affects your plan and your even project expected outcomes. So you have to do something about the uncertainty. Okay, so this is the what I mean before. You have to flexibly change or adjust your plan. The left one is what I initially have for the Gantt chart to plan my final year project, but as the time goes, so I adjust it in more detail. One way you can do that is to make the plan for the incoming future in more detail, and you can roughly plan for the further future. For example, you can give some big chunks for the future, and when future comes, you detail them step by step. So in this way, um, I think it's better for you to adjust your plan. Okay. So some final tips. First of all, I have to say most of the above things that I learned is from the FYP handbook. So read it carefully when you have it. There are a lot of skills and tips far more than what I give you here, which is valuable and can contribute to your final outcomes of this project, final year project. So just read it. And also just record your inspirations instantly. When you have some idea, just record it right now through your phone, through any paper and pens. Or tell someone, that's also okay. So do not let it live in your mind and you think later on I will record it again. Later on you will forget it, believe me. Okay, so, and of course, you have to learn from failures. When you are doing the final year project, just like I say, it's something brand new. No one have done this. So when you do research, when you do the experiment, of course, you will face a lot of failures. You will have a lot of unknown errors and bugs, and even something that you even don't know why. But learn from them. Try to do a lot of attempts. Success always comes from the failure. Okay, and also you have to use your logbook or your phone or anything that you have to record crucial results, process adjustments as much as possible. That can help you when you are writing a final year project report. And also, the logbook is also required by this module. So this is very important. And you don't have to think too much about the format because the only criteria is that you can understand it. And also, when you are writing for your final project report, I recommend you to entitle every section and subsections before you write a report, and also you can give some comment for each subsections or sections to say if the overall organization of your report is proper or is good, is in a good style. If you write a title and write a few sentence and then you write another titles, I mean, that's not a good way. So you have to entitle every sections before you start. That means that you can have an overall for what you will writing in the future, and also that can fasten your writing process, accelerate. I mean, okay. So you have to also thinking actively during the whole project. Just like I say, I want to mention it again or emphasize it again. It's your own project, so don't expect others to think for you. you have to think actively during the whole project. What you should do next, what you will do in the future, and why the errors happens, why the problems happen. So you have to think actively. Also, just like I mentioned, you have to communicate with your supervisor actively, not just wait for them. Okay, and of course you have to prepare for the potential challenge questions when you prepare the oral presentation. Um, there may be some unknown questions that you cannot expect to answer before, but just you can think about it just a presentation to present it to some classmates you have or your friends and let them ask you a question. And they maybe ask you some questions that you never imagined, but that's very helpful. Will be very helpful uh, when you are doing the final oral presentation when the panels ask you a question. And finally, just enjoy your project. That's a very valuable opportunity to do so, to implement your idea. So good luck.